color broadcast, and India doesn't have color broadcast. And she said that we must have color broadcast, but we don't have foreign exchange. So Mr. Vasant Sate was the broadcasting minister, came to my lab and my Mr. Nambiar, who was the chairman, and he was very bold. He took the decision that we will make this. And I said, how much time it requires? And so he said, we don't have time. And can we develop in 3 months' time? We had a television, which has been manufactured in the cooperatives. But then we said we worked together. We got some components. We developed all those things. And then we could make the color television broadcast with a special permission in Trivandrum city. We didn't have software. All people had opposed that, where is the software for color television? We don't have cameras. And so we did that, but we got all those old movies coming from that, and we should transmit all the old movies without license, of course, but at that time. And the whole Trivandrum city used to see 24 hours only movies at that time, because the first time people are seeing color television. This was shown to Mrs. Gandhi, and she took the bold decision that Asia will be color broadcast, and the televisions. This started that we started manufacturing color televisions in the country, and soon, very, very soon, 80% of the population was covered with color broadcast. And today we see what is happening, what don't see in the world, in the US, etc., 200, 250 channels all around and all that kind of thing. And this was the electronics revolution. Then we started manufacturing. This is a state electronics corporation, Keltron, Meltron, Beltron. All the state electronics corporation came across, and India was engaged in electronics. This started in my lab. This was very interesting. Many other things. First, personal computers, 86-bit computers, automation systems, and all that kind of things. At that time, I had an opportunity to work with Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. Mrs. Gandhi got assassinated, and I had an opportunity. I was called upon by name to really develop the security system for Prime Minister's house and Prime Minister's office. And we worked on this. It was a secret project. We worked day and night. People used to sit on the lab, and then created that, all the cameras, tilting. Now it's very things, the camera, you have to build lenses, get from CCSIO, put this one thing, building cameras, writing this one, writing the programs, all those kind of things. And whole system was developed, very complex system at that time. Even still today it is there, but he was to be assassinated somewhere else. So I think something else which we never predicted. So this was the time of that thing. Then 87, 88, really the supercomputing mission really started. This was a CDAC. I had worked on the project. I think that time the question was that, can we develop a supercomputer? Can we develop a supercomputer? Because Mr. Rajiv Gandhi had gone to US, and we were denied the supercomputers, and we were humiliated. He was himself humiliated at the meeting. He said that if the supercomputer, if we are ready to give it, Reagan said, the state secretary said, but if it's used for anything other than weather prediction for which we wanted, we will see to it that even the pin will not move into India. That was the question. He felt very humiliated, a young man, and came back and said that why can't we develop supercomputers within the country? We have done the atomic energy programs, and we have done the space programs. We have started, let's start a supercomputing program. He was took the political decision. Most people said we cannot. They thought supercomputer means Cray, and Cray systems cannot, we don't have chips, we can't do the cooling systems, we can never do it. At that time, this one, and then I would pose that question because I had worked with him, and the chairman at that time was my own chairman for several years, worked with him in Trivandrum, and he said we can try. And then the question asked was that, can we develop it? I said, I have not seen a supercomputer. We have not seen. I mean, there's no access. Only you can see the pictures if you're in the journals. And then how much? I said, but the atomic energy programs and the space program shows us, and what Sam Pitroda is, he had come with something. He said the exchanges we had done, we could do it. Based on the same confidence, we can say that we can do it. And we have to believe that we can do it. And how much time it will take? And I was the engineer. I said that if I say 5 years and 7 years, then there's nothing like that. If you say anything more than 3 years, that not be acceptable, really, because you can develop like that. And I said it will take about same time we had wasted struggling with the US to get one supercomputer here. I said within that time we'll develop it. And what cost? At the same cost of one supercomputer, we could develop the whole institution. I had done some calculation. The technology was parallel processing. It had just emerged at that time. Nobody knew that, nobody believed, including Samuel Cray, that parallel processing can real. This one Samuel Cray challenged that this parallel processing will fail because of programming, challenge of programming, not because of this one, and this can never work together. Most people did not believe, but I was convinced only that approach India can pursue, and we should take that approach. I was opposed by my teachers, all my professors, etc., that this is not the thing, this is not going to work. Samuel Cray is saying like this, we cannot follow that. We have to try to go the Cray path or Japanese path. I knew that it cannot be done by us, even if we want to take that path. So we pursued that path on this one. But I was also very sure that we will not be recognized is a supercomputer that we have. Even if we do one, unless we go outside the country and people say it's a supercomputer. This exactly happened in the next year, 1990, when he said the prototype is ready. So my reviewers told me this is not a supercomputer. So then I decided Europe, Zurich, there was a conference, and they said we'll take our conference there and we'll show it to them who has trying that. And all the supercomputers were coming there in Zurich conference where Einstein really taught or studied, it's worked really. So that was a great thing. We exhibited our cutting short. It's a big story, but cutting very short that we went, we were benchmarked. We could not get the computer into this one because of customs problems at Bombay, something like that. All kind of, we never knew how to export a computer. We knew how to import a computer. So I was asked to go to Prime Minister's office and all that kind of thing. So we carried the parts in our baggages. We carried the parts, disassembled the whole thing, carried the parts in baggages, reach at 2 o'clock in the night. Next day morning it was to be assembled. I never thought that whole millions of lines of code will work on that operating system. Everything was to be our own. Compilers will work, but fortunately it worked. I must say not. Fortunately. And there I remember our chairman's view that it is not that you make it work. There is something which is beyond that, which you say, it really, there are no chance of working. One in very thin chance of working together. It worked. It was benchmarked in Zurich, and then Germans were trying to come, but they could not complete. Russians were trying to come. They could not also complete their machine, because assembling a supercomputer in a laboratory for exhibition, not a working model, it is not a thing. French and British were working together. Japanese brought their own old model, and Cray and Intel were there in terms of parallel processing model. Cray had come with their own machine. But it was benchmark. The benchmark was same benchmark, LINPACK benchmark, which was run, and we came second. That whole thing. And at that time, the conference declared in that thing where really that India has developed a supercomputer, and that message I sent to India. They said, yes, it is a supercomputer. And so it was like that. We had lost the confidence. This was the inspiration from Swami Vivekananda, really, that unless you go out and declare in that really conference of the Parliament of Religion that this is the thing, this is the religion, India, I am representing that. That was the inspiration, that unless you go out and do that. At that time, we had lost our confidence fully. So we did that. 1991, we created a model. CDAC became the thing, and we had all that thing, the supercomputing story. 91, then from it was full gigaflop model, which is now the laptop, which is a thing like that. That was a supercomputer at that time, huge thing, big power supplies and all that kind of running on that. And then in 98, we developed the teraflop model, 1,000 times more. There were a lot of problems. Rajiv Gandhi got assassinated. People came to close my laboratory. They said, now the mission is over. They came with lock and key that your mission is over. Now, and all by 200 people, they said, now we go. That your mission, 3 years, it is finished. One administrative fellows came. I convinced him. It was a great difficulty to convince him that such a thing. It is not like this, just close and tap like, start like that. And at that time also, we took the challenge of developing the Indian languages on the computers, because computers were not to be used, only could use the English language, so develop the multilingual technology. And that was a big thing in 1991, because I felt that is more important than supercomputers. We should be able to use computers in own languages. And there were guys that developed it. The chips, the first chip was developed for that. India's first chip was a script processor, which was designed first time in the kind of thing with the VLSI tools. And that time I got exposed to VLSI tools. And several VLSI design centers were opened. And 98, we came out with the teraflop supercomputers. Later on, I think, moved to this